Hi, well in this video we will speak about another feature of the multi-server installation, and that's a job roaming, a feature that allows us to share the print jobs among different print sites of the organization. As always, we will first start with a little example situation. And this time it will be about an auditor, a user that travels amongst multiple sites and has to be able to print on all of them. So, our auditor normally works in his home site of Prague. When he needs to print, he just sends it to local server and releases the job on any of the machine on that site. But once a month, this user has to travel to another site of the company to check that all the processes are done properly, write a report about it, and then print it and provide it to his management. So, how he can do it? So now user has just landed and went to another site, which is in London. He has done his job, he's analyzed everything, wrote the report, and sent it for print. Now, because he's in London, the most logical way is to send it to local server to avoid any possible issue which could be caused by the transfer to his home site. So, the jobs are waiting in London. The same way he has done it in London, he will then do it in New York. So again, travels to another site, does his job, writes a report, and prints it locally. But again, he doesn't want to release that job because, it wouldn't make really sense to get all the papers in the aircraft, fly over to Prague, and then just send it to the management. Instead of that, he can just only fly, connect to the local server, and download all the jobs waiting on other sites and print them locally. So he now has everything he needed in his hand and can just present it to the management board. So this was an example. Now let us quickly look on the way it actually works behind the scene. So, starting again with this screen when I have the central server and all the sites. The important thing is that the job roaming works just between the sites. So when I'm just requesting a print job, it's the site communicating with other sites of the system. I can get my jobs either on the embedded screen or through the web UI of the system. Now the central server only interacts only in one very simple way, and that's in a case that something has been changed, like some site has been deactivated or additional site has been added to the system, because the central server automatically creates a list of available servers with that feature and then shares it with other sites. When it comes to the local access to the job roaming feature, it's just on the administrator of each individual site which users will be able or allowed to use that feature. A really important message is that for the actual interaction among the sites in sharing of the jobs, the presence of the server is not really necessary. So if the connection with the central server has been interrupted, you will still be able to get the jobs from other sites that were previously connected to that central server. Now, the next thing we would like to focus on is which jobs are actually available when you are the user who has the rights to use the job roaming. So on this slide, I would like to explain what you will see when you will travel to a distant site and log in on the embedded and use the job roaming feature. So as in a previous example, let's say the home site where I'm normally working is the site in Prague. Now what you can see here on the screen are my print queues on that very server. So if I'll send some jobs, those jobs will be automatically listed in these queues. The first one is a color queue, the second one is a monochrome one. So if I'll be there as a user and will send my jobs, they'll be automatically put into that queue before I will release them on the embedded terminal. Now once the jobs are there, I can just move to another site, which in this case will be the site in New York. Now I will just connect there, and either through the UI or on the embedded screen, I would just now want to access the remote jobs. What the system will do, it will automatically start using the job roaming queue. Now in that queue there is actually nothing. the queue only automatically collects all the jobs from my pull print queues. So that way, it should automatically get all the 6 jobs that are waiting in the 2 pull print queues I have in the proc server. Then if I will decide to download them, it will automatically provide those to the New York, and I can just decide if I would like to download them or not. If I will say that those should be downloaded, they'll be automatically transferred to that side, and I can just release them on the embedded screen. Now, using the same way, the same principle, the system automatically collects all your print jobs from all your pull print and delegated print queues from every single site on which you are allowed to use the job roaming queue. Now, the next thing I would like to show you on another slide is about the available settings and 3 different behaviors the job roaming can actually have. So as you can see, there are 3 available settings: the separated jobs, the shared list, and print all included. To explain those the best possible way, it would be on the embedded screen. So on the embedded screen, there are 2 buttons related to print jobs: My Jobs and Print All. And on use of these buttons and on the examples you will get while using those buttons, I will explain how these 3 settings actually differ. Starting first with the default setting, which is available and was available for all the versions of the system, and that's the option of separated jobs. We will start with how the system behaves when it comes to the job management if you will press the My Jobs button. So as you can see, now there are 2 lists of jobs. When you get to the My Jobs button, you'll automatically get all your locally stored jobs, which is the column on the left. To be able to get to the jobs from distant sites, you will have to press another button to show the remote. So, remote jobs, which are also listed with the information from which sites they are actually coming. On the other hand, if you use the print all button, the system will only include locally stored jobs. Now, this was the old behavior and actually the default behavior. For some cases, when you've got a really strong connection and installation for up to 10 site servers, you can use the additional ones, starting first with the option of the shared list. And you will immediately see the difference when we will hit the My Jobs button, because the shared list does the thing that both local and remote jobs are available in that list. You can see your local jobs, you can see the distant ones, and at the distant ones you also see the place of the origin. On the other hand, if I will hit the Print All button, the system will only again include locally stored jobs. The last option, the print all included, is pretty much an extension of this whole system, so it's an extension of the shared list. Because what it does is, for the My Jobs part, it shows all the jobs in one list, and as it's pretty logical from its name, the print all button also includes the remote jobs. Now when it comes to these settings, when it comes to the first one, the separated jobs, it's really recommended for large installations or installations where the connection between the individual sites is not the fastest one. On the other hand, if you can ensure that the connection is really strong and you don't have more than 10 site servers connected together, you can use the shared list or the extension of that, the print all included. Now, the same way as always, it's time to summarize it. So, what this is about. The first thing, the job roaming is pretty much a feature that provides you a follow me among sites. You can just get the jobs from all the pull print queues around the fleet of your company, provided, of course, you got the access rights. It's available on both the embedded or web UI. It automatically collects all your pull print queue jobs, again, in a case that you have access to the job roaming queue on that particular site, and of course also on a distant one. It's available only to selected user, so when you will activate the feature, it's you, the administrator, who decides which user will be able to use it. And of course, you have to establish a communication among the sites to be able to download all the jobs. Maybe last information which was not that clearly announced is that the job is accounted on the site where it was printed. So when you will just download a job from a distant site, it will appear in the report of the site where you have actually printed it. When it comes to the possible output, it could be the separated job, a shared list when you've got the both local and remote jobs in one list, and uh, also the remote jobs can be included in the print all button. When it comes to the things you really should focus on, it doesn't work for the direct print. The job roaming is available only for the pull print queues. And shared and print all options of job roaming can be used only for up to 10 servers in the whole installation. There are also a few more topics I will definitely recommend you to watch, and that's the MyQ embedded terminal, printing using drivers, and multi-server installation, all the other videos about the multi-server, because all these videos I'm mentioning here right now are somehow mentioned in this presentation. So that will be everything. Thank you very much for watching, and let's see each other at another video.